I don't have this all memorized, although I've had plenty of time to do that, but many of you know I have a new grandson, and I spend a lot of time with him, and I cannot take time to memorize something like this. But anyway, I'm going to give it my best shot. As you know how things are, no garden is perfect, including this one that's sitting out here. Some of us are wonderful critters of his, and some of us are not so wonderful critters of us. That's life. And we all try our best to get better and better, because that's what it's all about. We have to continually, now I'll read your part, Sheila. We have to continually sow the seed of his word, cultivate it with love and prayer, and be on the alert for weeds or critters of harm, destruction, or just waiting to invade or prevent our growth in him. Lord knows there's lots of that stuff going on out there. Like us, our regular gardens have little critters in them too. Some of them are harmful, some of them are not so harmful. However, my friend Deanna thinks every little critter that there is very harmful and screams the scream of death whenever there's something like that around the house. One of these days she's going to cry wolf. Anyway, some potted plants have little critters in them, and that's what I wanted to tell you about in this story. And it's a very cute story, and it's about this old couple. A lot of us can relate to that. Maybe some of you not so much. And it's called Garden Snakes Can Be Dangerous. Snakes, also known as garter snakes, can be dangerous. Yes, grass snakes, not rattlesnakes. Here's why. A couple in Sweetwater, Texas had a lot of potted plants. During a recent cold spell, the wife was bringing a lot of them indoors to protect them from the possible freeze. It turned out that the little green garden grass snake was hidden in one of her plants. When it had warmed up, it slithered out of the plant and went under the sofa. Lo and behold, the wife saw the snake and screamed. Well, her husband was in the shower, and he came busting out of the shower in his nakedness to find out what was wrong with his wife. So she tried to tell him that there was a snake in the house. And he got down on the floor, as all our macho men would do, to look for the snake. Well, he looked and looked and looked, and finally the family dog, as all of our wonderful family dogs do to come and help at our rescue, came up and gave him the cold nose in his bare behind. Lo and behold, the man thought that the snake had bitten him, and he screamed and rolled over flat on the floor. Well, his wife had a panic, and she thought he had a heart attack, so she covered him up, dear wife that she is, and called an ambulance. The attendants rushed into the house, but would not listen to his protest, because by this time he's trying to tell what the heck happened. They lowered him on the stretcher and started carrying him out. About that time, the cute little snake came out from under the sofa, and one of the EMTs, that's too long for me to say, saw it and dropped his end of the stretcher. That's when the husband broke his leg, and he is still in the hospital. The wife still had the problem of the snake in the house. So she called on a neighbor who volunteered to capture the snake for her. Another man reaching up to what he has to do. He armed himself with a rolled newspaper and began poking under the couch. Soon he decided it's gone and told the woman who sat down on the sofa in relief. However, while she was relaxing on the sofa, you know what's going to happen. Her hand dangled between the cushions, where she felt, you know what, the snake wiggling around her. She screamed and fainted. The snake rushed back under the sofa. The neighbor man, seeing her lying there passed out because he heard her right next door, tried to use CPR to revive her. Well, guess what? His wife came home from shopping, and he saw their front door open, and he saw his wife on top of this woman doing CPR, and she took one of the canned goods out of her bag and slammed it into his head and cracked his skull open. So he needed to have stitches. Sorry, there's another whole page. The noise woke the woman up from her fainted spell, and she saw her neighbor lying on the floor with his wife bending him over, so she assumed the snake had bitten him. She went to the kitchen, got a small bottle of whiskey, what else, and began pouring it down the man's throat. By now, the police had arrived. "Bring it here," she said. They saw the unconscious man, smelled the whiskey, and assumed that a drunken fight had occurred. They were about to arrest them all when the woman tried to explain how it all happened over her little garden snake. Well, the policeman called an ambulance, which took away the neighbor and his sobbing wife. Now the little snake again is still around. He crawled under from the sofa, and one of the policemen drew his pistol and fired at it. But guess what? He missed the little guy and hit the leg of the end table, which fell over, caused a lamp to fall over, the bulb broke, and it caused a fire in the house. The other policeman tried to put out the flames and fell through the window into the yard on top of the family dog, who started to jump and race into the street when a car was coming by, and to miss the dog, the car swerved and hit the police car. Meanwhile, this couldn't happen in Winder. Meanwhile, neighbors saw the burning drapes and called the fire department. Well, the efficient firemen running to the rescue came down the street with the fire ladder already half up. Well, the raised ladder hit the overhead wires, put out the power, and disconnected the telephones in a 10-square city block area. But they did get the house fire out. Time passed. Both men were discharged from the hospital. The house was repaired, the dog came home, the police acquired a new car, and all was right with the world. A while later, though, the original husband and wife were sitting on the sofa watching TV, and lo and behold, the weatherman came on the TV, and he said that there was going to be another cold snap. The wife asked her husband if he thought she should bring the plants in that night. And that's when he shot her. Thank you. You're a polite audience. You deserve a hand. Thank you so much. I'm not used to talking to adults. I'm used to talking to children.